Pak Marty, which one would you like to see? What are the most pressing challenges now that will really threaten the existence of ASEAN?
Well, before such a learned and august forum, it is not for me to describe things that I think most of us in this room would be extremely familiar with already in terms of the challenges and opportunities before us, the geopolitical push and pull, the internal implosion or challenges that some ASEAN member states are facing. But I think a forum of this type would be more useful if we reflect on how then should ASEAN respond to these developments rather than us simply describing them. And I think it's extremely important to recognize that obituaries on ASEAN actually have been written many times over in past decades and past years. But somehow, all those times, ASEAN have been able to reinvent itself and reassert its relevance. I feel today we are at one of those junctures, that we are a moment where we need to step back, reflect, and think about what are the next series of steps that we must try to introduce. Given the limitation of time, I'll just take one example, for instance, the geopolitical push and pull. By the way, this is not just US-China. There is India and China. In Northeast Asia, you have a new trilateral now. It's no longer the traditional +3, which we are more familiar with, namely China, Japan, and Korea, but now there is a trilateral that is involving United States as well. The point being, given this push and pull, how can ASEAN manifest its relevance, its centrality? I am of the view that if we simply say we don't want to choose, that we are neutral, there is a guarantee of ASEAN's irrelevance. And we are seeing it already. We are seeing the initiation of processes that circumvent ASEAN. AUKUS, Quad, BRICS, the trilateral that I had mentioned. I believe, Ibu, those who are going to meet in the next couple of days here, the leaders, they really must think how you can earn their centrality. And in my humble and honest view, one contribution that ASEAN can make is the notion of promoting strategic stability. How, notwithstanding the push and pull between the geopolitical rivals, ASEAN can say, this does not need to lead to open conflict. There is an alternative script. The notion of promoting crisis response capacity, the notion of developing trust. These are the things that I feel ASEAN can try to positively infect beyond our region. And by the way, we have been doing that in the past. When we externalize the TAC, the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, so that it applies beyond ASEAN, it is a way for us to positively affect the rest of the region. When we speak of the Indo-Pacific, that was the same idea. The Code of Conduct for the South China Sea, again. But I'm now, please correct me if I'm wrong now, I hope I am wrong. I am seeing a little bit of like a wait and see. We are in the driving seat, but we are not driving anywhere. We need to think about this carefully, thoughtfully, and more of the same, business as usual, in my view, may not suffice in a world of fast-changing developments.